your documentary that you watched.
You gonna read the?
Your documentary was
I
Shirley.
watched the Shirley on Netflix. And I was reminding my sister this wasn't her whole life story. Because she's written a book, and she's you can really Google her and find other documentaries about her. Because her life is just so it expands from the 40s, the 50s when she was born to now. When she passed away.
Here you got
but this one was kind of speaking to this documentary.
How true is Regina King's biopic on Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman elected to Congress?
Okay, so overall, I felt it was a good documentary. It only talked about her run for president. Quickly,
it didn't talk about her being in Congress.
Quickly, her in Congress, and a few scenes with her dealing with some of the issues, being the first Black woman in Congress, because you can imagine.
Shirley
you can just read through, and then I'll just speak.
Shirley Chisholm was the first Black woman elected to Congress, and a new movie is telling her story. Shirley, out now on Netflix, focuses on Chisholm's run for the 1972 Democratic presidential nomination and the events surrounding the campaign. Chisholm was a force in Congress, fighting for her constituents while facing racism and sexism. She also influenced some of today's politicians, a few of whom are shown in the movie.
Right.
The biopic stars Regina King as Chisholm and was written and directed by John Ridley. Okay. Did another congressman really confront Shirley Chisholm about pay?
Yeah.
So that really happened.
You can imagine, though, as first Black woman congressman, I know they were saying, and some of the stuff I wrote down, in 1968, there were 435 elected representatives to the House of Congress.
Still is.
11 of those were women.
Okay.
5 of the representatives were Black.
Okay.
None of them were Black women. So she was the first Black woman. So you can imagine in 1968 what she was dealing with.
Congressman Craighead stops her in the hallway.
Right, in the documentary.
And says, I can't believe you make the same salary as me.
Right. Yeah, because she's a Black woman. So, a lot of times and then she always made comments about this, all politicians and everybody in office and in higher positions are all white men. White men. That's all you see is white men. And she wanted to break that mold and go ahead.
While the character in the movie may be a combination of several people, which is this Glenn L. Starks guy, there was one Southern congressman in particular that Starks says who kept pointing out how much money she made, expressing disbelief that a Black woman would be in Congress. So it looks like they took some people and combined them into one character on some of these.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Because some of them were actual congressmen that she actually confronted.
So the question is, did Chisholm and her sister really have a distant relationship?
She had, it was 4 girls. She was the oldest of the 4. The ones, her real sister playing her sister.
Okay.
They were
because her sister's an actress too.
They pushed her away because she was, driven with politics and in that world. And the dad was kind of like favoritism to her. Because he probably saw the potential in Shirley. And the other daughters were probably jealous.
It said they believed she was their father's favorite.
She pretty much was. And she said, I can't help but be who I am. That's who I am.
They said that the father gave her money. That probably put more strain on the relationship.
Yeah, he did push her to if you think about it, between all the 4 girls, she's the one that has excelled and done so much in the world of politics and helping communities.
They said her and her sisters had a distant relationship. Merle did attend, one of her sisters attended her funeral, but the other ones did not.
That's how pushed away they were.
Wow.
Even in her marriage. Her husband was with her during her campaign, but you can kind of tell in the documentary, you all need to just watch a documentary because it just kind of tells you her journey as running for president. Because I remember I had to have been young, 12. I didn't understand it. For some reason, as a young kid, when I saw that she was running for president, I didn't think she was going to win.
Well, we knew she wasn't going to win.
Right. But the point is, I didn't understand her journey and the importance of it. Even if she didn't win, she opened doors for people. Just a lot of things in the documentary. And then when I read about her on other documentaries, her book that she read and other information, my goodness, she had a really The one thing I did like when they brought it out, and I think you're probably going to read it. When she was elected in congressman as a congresswoman, another congressman, a black one, said she didn't like her assignment. They assign you to certain committees.
Yeah.
And hers was agriculture or something. And she was like, what am I going to do with agriculture? I'm in Brooklyn. How am I going to represent the people in Brooklyn with corn and all of that? So she got the Speaker of the House to change her committee.
Yeah, it says here, representative, they put her on the agriculture committee. As a representative from Brooklyn, she thought the placement wasn't relevant to her district.
Exactly.
She was eventually placed on the Veterans Affairs Committee, but she did make some changes while on the Agriculture Committee. It's not shown in the film. But Chisholm did play a role in the creation of the Special Supplement Nutrition Program, WIC.
See?
And the expansion of the food stamp program. She didn't think that was agriculture.
She worked with what she was given, but she preferred to work in another committee.
It says, what was her relationship with Barbara Lee? Congressman Barbara Lee.
Barbara Lee didn't want to be in politics. She was writing, I think she was writing a paper. She was a single mom, black mom back then, and she had to write on some politics or something. So she said, I've been watching you, and I want to, I've been following you. And as far as how can I help? Because she asked her to come help on her campaign. She said, I don't have no experience. How can I help? She said, you can help in so many ways. And she they brought that out in the documentary. And she followed her and learned a lot. She was instrumental in getting her to meet with Huey, what's his name, with the Black Panthers. And I didn't know in the documentary, Huey wanted to meet with her because she needed him to endorse her. And he wanted to meet on neutral grounds. Diane Carroll's house. I didn't know Diane Carroll was involved with the Black Panthers. And that's how they got connected. And he, of course, gonna question her and why should we support you? Because this was after her visit to George Wallace when he got shot 5 times. A lot of Black people did not like George Wallace. He was so racist.
Right.
She still said, as a Christian woman, she still wanted to go visit him. A lot of her campaign people said no. Yeah. Even the Barbara Lee character, she said no.
Yeah, because George Wallace was horrible. He didn't want to sick the dogs and everything on everybody.
Huey even said no. But one of the things I wrote down about Huey, with the little quick talk with him, he was saying, hold on.
Black Panther right here.
Okay. He was saying that he got mad because of supposedly there was a comment she made about it being a Black Panther. It's a shame that you being a Black Panther. And she was like, that's not what I said. I said, it's a shame that the Black Panther Party is necessary. Right. Not that it's shameful.
Okay.
If it's necessary, that's a shame that we got to have a Black Panther movement.
And going back to what we talked about yesterday, I don't want to drag Candace Owens into this, but that's my issue I have with her. She would say it's a shame that there's a Black Panther Party. Where you should be saying, why do we have to have the Black Panther Party? All right, go back. I don't want to bring her up
Another thing.
But it's things like that irritates me with her.
He had made a comment about, of course, you know what the Black Panther stood for. So when she went to visit George Wallace, he was like, okay, we saw you go visit him at the hospital. Right. She said she would break bread with the devil if it made him more of a Christian.
All right.
So she was pretty much saying, as a Christian, it didn't hurt for me to go and meet with him and let him know this may be a warning to you, sir. Right. Because half of your body is handicapped. The other half, God may come and just take you all the way. So she prayed with him. But do you know he endorsed one of her policies?
But that was
It was something that she put out there. Let me see. Hold on. I got my notes.
Well, I can read here.
Oh, is it in there?
Chisholm did go to the hospital to visit political rival Alabama Governor George Wallace when he was shot in 1972 in an assassination attempt. The visit was brief. It lasted 15 minutes. Her visit to Wallace, a supporter of segregation and other opposing ideologies, suppressed Chisholm's supporters and Wallace himself, Stark said. People were shocked, Stark says. Other politicians also went there. I think the only surprise by her going was because she was a black female.
Mm-hmm.
Lee was one of the people who questioned Chisholm about her visit to Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
Stark says Chisholm told Lee, "I'm treating him the same way a human being should be treated."
Right.
Did some of Chisholm's allies really switch support to McGovern at the last minute?
Is that it?
Yeah, go ahead. So I don't
I
know.
know one thing he did endorse her later on. He backed her on a wage protection for domestic workers.
Oh, okay.
So her coming and praying with him, holding his hand, that meant something.
Okay.
And that hopefully that changed him because he endorsed her for something that she was trying to get out as a congresswoman.
It says that, yes, the film focus on Chisholm's presidential campaign follows her seeking support and delegates from the members of Congressional Black Caucus. Really did at the last minute give their promised delegates to George McGovern.
Yeah.
And that upset her, the Black Caucus.
Yeah, they promised her. There was one.
But then you going to give it to him.
One congressman promised her. She's been friends with him for a long time. And another congressman promised her the delegates.
It said Ron,
he was running too.
Ron Dellums, maybe him, abruptly losing his support and not receiving his nomination at the convention was a betrayal.
Yeah, they were good friends, and that hurt her so. You can tell.
But why would the Black Caucus? See what I'm saying?
They did it for they gave all of their delegates to George McGovern because I forgot George McGovern was running. This was Nixon's second term, and they were trying to get Nixon out because they didn't like him.
But
McGovern was working.
They still do that. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not a Democrat. Because a lot of these black Democrats are bought and sold.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I remember when Obama was running for president, if you guys remember. And Jesse Jackson was caught on a hot mic. He didn't know his mic was off. Can't stand that Negro.
Yes,
that's what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say Roe. He said the A at the end.
Exactly. Yeah, he sure got caught saying
but
that.
Then he gonna cry the night of the celebration. The cameras got him crying and clapping. See, they all fell in line. Because he won.
Thank you. Because it was him and...
They didn't want him.
In the primary, Hillary. It was Hillary and him.
They wanted Hillary. Because they had things that they had to pay back to Clinton. And then, lo and behold, the people wanted Obama. Yes. So they had to fall in line. Yes. They didn't want him.
I know. And think about it. If he had married Michelle Obama, he probably would have got more pushback.
So it said, did Chisholm really run for president to be a catalyst for change?
Yeah, that's
Toward the end of the film, Chisholm says her intention in running for president was to be a catalyst for change and show Americans that their votes do matter. Little does she know, it don't.
Well, that was what she told Barbara Lee.
This is back in the day.
Barbara Lee was like, I don't vote and I don't want to vote.
This was back in the day when we didn't know about politics, when we were stupid.
She said, you cannot run your mouth and expect things to happen because you didn't vote. So she's
right about that. Now, I do agree on local, yes. Your vote definitely matters local.
Yeah.
Who your judges are, who your... mayor and your alderman.
In fact, one of the guys
I totally agree with that.
One of the guys on her campaign that you see in the documentary named Wesley Mackholder, he was one of her advisors. And he was an advisor for the first black mayor of New York. So he was a very good advisor, but pretty much her people that surrounded her, she started working with him to elect a black judge.
Okay.
And that's partly what she got involved in the politics.
It said here she was tired of people getting votes from the black community, but never doing anything for them.
Yeah.
Well, we still tired.
And if you go back up, it talks about, I was telling my sister, a lot of times when you watch documentaries, they may create a character that was not real. Yeah. I think they did that in Malcolm X with a lot of Spike Lee's character.
He was a combination of his friends.
And I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Who is real and who isn't?
Right.
But the guy that played her campaign manager, they wanted him, I think his name was Brian Stokes Mitchell.
Okay.
Light-skinned guy. He's been in other shows. He played her campaign manager, but he was not real. Okay. He was a made-up character, but they just talked pretty much. He was trying to get her, and if this is true, because he's balled up in a bunch of other people, that were trying to get her to move. He wanted her to meet with Jesse Jackson,
Why wasn't she meeting with any of them?
She said they won't vote for me. She
said, right.
Farrakhan will not vote for me.
She's absolutely right.
As a black woman.
And again, I said this before.
Jesse Jackson won't vote for me.
And I said this before, and everybody questioned me.
And I was like, wow.
I said in the 2016 election, Louis Farrakhan backed Trump. Okay? Now, people are saying he ain't saying nothing no more. Why he ain't saying nothing?
He kept quiet.
You either support him now or you don't. You know you don't like Biden. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying what happens is they rather have anybody other than a woman.
Yes.
You rather have your oppressor than a woman. And you can't even phantom. I think what's happening, he's not saying nothing. And I'm not going after Farrakhan because, he's cool. He's done a lot in Chicago where we live. But he thinks that, what's her name? Kamala Harris is going to walk in that seat because Joe Biden is hanging on by a thread.
And he don't want no black
And I guarantee you he don't want her in that chair.
Yeah, that's true.
Along with all the other stuff, with the transgender and the gay stuff and all of this other stuff. And abortions and pills being, you don't even have to get a prescription. Yeah. You can't tell me that man is like, oh yeah, I'm pro-Biden. I think he's being quiet and he's thinking, I'm sitting this one out.
Interesting.
Because he's not endorsing him like he did last time, Trump.
But she brought that up, and she had problems.
So it wouldn't make sense they wouldn't endorse her.
Yeah.
Back then.
And they kept showing that guy who was the pretend campaign manager character, kept asking. And she said, no, they're not going to support him. It'll be a waste of time going over there. But she actually Barbara Lee said, Huey Lewis, Lord. Huey Newton will.
The Black Panther. Well, of course he will, because nobody was looking at the black. They was looking to get rid of them. So, of course he's
her campaign manager went, oh, yeah, go ahead and get the radicals. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Troublemakers, yeah.
So, you know what, buddy? We're troublemakers now. That's why I'm not on any party. Yeah. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a troublemaker. I read both parties the same way. Those black people in the Democrat Party aren't doing anything. All they're doing is just trying to make black people vote Democrat.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to jump out of the frying pan into the fire and go mega like some of these other black people. I'm staying right in the middle, and if I like a candidate, I'm voting for them regardless of if they're Democrat or Republican. I'm voting for the person that I like, and I don't care what party they're in. I wish most black people would do that, because you would see that they never have had these congressmen and senators and stuff always about money. They've never had the black community. If the black community is the number one thing on their mindset, how come these congressmen's districts are the worst?
I know.
The most ghetto, the most project.
Your area should be changing. That's one thing that
Why am I seeing the same stuff over and over again, and your congressman been in there for 30, 40 years?
That was one of the reasons why, and then she ended up with, like you're saying, helping the agriculture committee while she was there until she switched over to the veterans and that so forth. She was very concerned about her area in Brooklyn.
Thank you.
And I remember I saw a interview with her, and she gave some more illustrations of dealing with racism. She said she didn't know that when she would go eat, because she would eat by herself, nobody would eat with her, because, being a black woman and whatever. So she was always alone, and she ate, and she loved to eat. She made sure she had lunch, and she loved strawberry milkshakes. I noticed that. But she went to sit. She didn't know they had tables for the different delegates and where they from.
Okay.
Her table, she probably didn't know in New York because they were not labeled. Oh. She was sitting at a southern one.
Ooh.
And he come over,
barely
could talk. You at wrong table. And she said, "Excuse me, sir." She said, "What did you say? You are on wrong table." And she said, "I'm serious. You got to hear her do it." Because he, very broken country. Like he from the mountains.
The woods. We got family like that.
She finally got it.
Down there. How y'all go, Kim? How y'all go come on down here? Figure on out. And that's nothing wrong with that. That's where
We
they
had a
started
cousin
talking.
that didn't
We
like
laugh at it. We was like, what?
My grandmother.
You know when we sat on down there, you know when we talk about go on in here, get some go get
You thought they was talking a different language. Huh?
you want me to come in for dinner? That's why I said they didn't come on in and get some supper.
My grandmother had a cousin who
Mom,
didn't
your
like,
family.
she didn't like when we would crack on people from the hood, from the hills, from the south. But
Yeah.
yeah. She was an educator, so she definitely didn't like that.
But I crack on everybody. So that's why I'm saying I'm going to crack on you too. You going to come talk to me like that, I'm going to crack on you. But she on down there, go on, get on down there and get some dinner.
She was very wise.
What?
She was a wise debater, very good. She could talk, and she didn't like no for an answer. I don't like no.
What are your other things you got? What? She's from Barbados?
She's from Barbados, her sisters, and her mom is from Barbados. Her dad is Guyanese. I didn't know that.
So she's
a mixture. Her husband was Jamaican, her first husband.
Oh, friend, I wonder if he knows she was Guyanese. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. But he was pretty much the security guy for her because that's what his background was. They didn't marry. They divorced at 77, and she actually married the Arthur. I think his name is Arthur Hardwick, and they were married until she passed away. He was in her campaign, and he took care. You can kind of see
her husband.
Wendy's not calling it a documentary, but whatever
she said it's a docudrama.
Docudrama.
That's why they don't have to be real.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What?
Because a documentary would be more closely.
They got to be
truth,
close
right?
to the truth. Yeah.
That was pretty much that made up campaign manager was really one of the made up characters, and then just her relationship.
So the major networks would not allow her on TV.
The white guy that she had come back, he was an intern for her. That's the one you said he went on to be a lawyer.
Oh yeah, he was on Roland Martin. Yes. He was on Roland Martin.
She told the campaign, she got upset. She said, they're not letting me speak on the major networks. Then go sue them. She said, go sue them. Oh, we hardly have any money for the campaign, and she wants us to sue. How are we going to pay for a lawyer? That white guy stepped in. Okay. And he went and did some digging, and he got some information. Okay. Talk, and they knew if they start the ball rolling and put a fire up under them, those networks called back so quick. Yeah, he was on Roland Martin. You said he was shy, like he didn't want to say who he. He wasn't a bragger. And she told him he would get things done. I know one thing she said. Humility. Don't ever accept things the way they are. Don't be humble. Humility for successful people comes up as some kind of arrogance. Yes. You've done successful. You've done well. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Say you've done well. Exactly. You don't have to be arrogant about it, but don't be like, oh, I had help. I didn't. No, if you did, she had to get him to be like that. Okay. Yes. Miss Chisholm, I was able to get you on those 3 networks. Be sure of yourself. Yeah. But pretty much that was it. She was a person that said, I don't like the word can't. And I just wanted to do some more reading on her. What's going to happen is going to happen. There's probably another documentary on her. There's like a real documentary. There's a lot of them. Okay. There's books. She's written a book. Yeah. So Shirley's very extensive background. Now, I ain't gonna say nothing. I was gonna bring up Candace Owens. Ask Candace Owens, who was the first black congresswoman. She went, I don't know. She should know. She didn't know who the first black female justice was. Supreme Court justice. Katanji. She didn't even know that. Wow. And that's now. If she's supposed to be such a voice for the black people, at least know those roles in the country. Understand. Okay. Emerald says nothing was bad with Captain Kangaroo either. Yeah, we never heard nothing about Captain Kangaroo. And Bozo. I wonder. I hope not. Bozo the Clown? Wendy says Regina did a good job. What do you think about how she did? Here's my thing with Regina. She can do no wrong. Yeah, she's a good actress. She's a very good actress, and I enjoyed her in anything. She's a good actress. The movie should have dealt in more with the background, but other than that, I felt it was a good. Do you think she should get a nomination for something, an Oscar? Since would they do Netflix. That for this kind of TV show? Netflix, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Emerald says maybe Wendy will do a segment on Diane Carroll and Marilyn McCoo. thank you.
So you heard that, Wendy.
You heard that, Wendy, because I didn't know Diane Carroll.
I didn't know Diane Carroll
was the Black Panthers
attached to. She did do Diane Carroll, but we didn't talk about the Black Panthers.
And she was talking about her show when she was sitting there talking with Shirley Chisholm, waiting on Huey to come there. When she did the Julia show and all of that.
Justice Frost says, "Hey everybody, hey Justice." Wendy said backstabbers, probably talking about the black politicians. And then that's docudrama, not a documentary.
Okay, thank you for
all
that.
All right, so there you go. That's Shirley.
It's a good show.
So you would suggest people watch it.
Go watch it.
Watch that. The mama should watch it.
Our friend Terrence, our frat
Ma, you not gonna watch it?
Terrence Howard.
Oh, he's in there.
He plays the guy that she ends up marrying.
Oh, okay.
At the end, yeah.
All right.